Welcome to War and Untold Stories. Here, we explore the hidden side of war history. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and share your thoughts in the comments. Before the largest invasion in history began, a war of shadows was already being fought, not with bullets, but with lies. June 1944. The English Channel churns under the weight of an impending storm, a physical reflection of the tempest brewing across Europe. For months, Allied command had been meticulously planning the most audacious amphibious assault ever conceived, Operation Overlord, the invasion of Normandy. But the success of this monumental undertaking hinged on a single critical element: surprise. If the German High Command knew where and when the Allies would strike, the beaches of Normandy would become a death trap. Before the operation began, the team designed a secret plan to mislead the enemy and protect the true location of the landing. The plan was audacious, complex, and given a name that captured its spirit: Operation Fortitude. This was not a plan for a battle, but for a grand deception, a theatrical production on a scale the world had never seen. The goal was to create a phantom threat so convincing that it would pin down Germany's most powerful armored divisions far from the real target. The most logical place for an invasion, from the German perspective, was the Pas de Calais. It was the shortest sea crossing from England to France, offering the most direct route to Germany. The Allies knew this, and they decided to use Hitler's own logic against him. The stage was set. In the war rooms of London, figures like Winston Churchill and General Dwight D. Eisenhower oversaw the creation of a ghost army, a force that existed only on paper and in the minds of German intelligence. To lead this phantom force, the Allies chose one of their most famous and feared commanders, General George S. Patton. His reputation for aggressive, lightning-fast warfare made him the perfect figurehead for the 1st U.S. Army Group, or FUSAG. To the Germans, Patton's presence in southeast England was a clear sign that the main Allied thrust would come at Calais. But FUSAG was an army of illusions. In the fields of Kent, soldiers inflated rubber tanks and parked them in neat rows. Wooden aircraft were assembled on dummy airfields, and canvas trucks were lined up in convoys that went nowhere. From the air, German reconnaissance planes saw exactly what the Allies wanted them to see: a massive, formidable invasion force poised to strike. But it was all a carefully crafted mirage. The deception went even further. A dedicated team of radio operators broadcasted a constant stream of fake communications, mimicking the chatter of a real army preparing for battle. They discussed troop movements, supply logistics, and even the daily gripes of soldiers. This radio traffic was expertly designed to be intercepted, painting a vivid, detailed picture of an army that simply didn't exist. But inflatable tanks and radio chatter were not enough. To make the deception truly airtight, the Allies needed to control the flow of human intelligence. They needed spies. This led to the most fascinating chapter of Operation Fortitude: the double-cross system. British intelligence, through MI5, had successfully identified and turned nearly every German agent operating in Britain. These double agents became the crucial mouthpieces for the Allied deception, feeding a stream of carefully curated misinformation directly back to their German handlers. The most brilliant and effective of these agents was a Spanish national named Juan Pujol Garcia, codenamed Garbo by the British. His German handlers, who believed he was their most valuable asset in Britain, knew him as Arabelle. Garbo was a master of invention. He created a fictitious network of 27 sub-agents, each with their own personality and backstory, and used them to report a wealth of intelligence that confirmed the existence and purpose of Patton's ghost army. His reports were so detailed and believable that the Germans trusted him implicitly. They awarded him the Iron Cross for his services, never suspecting he was working for the Allies all along. Garbo's messages were masterpieces of misdirection, skillfully weaving truth with fiction to create an utterly convincing narrative. He reported that the Normandy landings were merely a diversion, a feint designed to draw German reserves away from the Pas de Calais, where the real and much larger invasion would soon take place. On the dawn of June 6, 1944, as thousands of Allied soldiers stormed the beaches of Normandy, the deception was put to its ultimate test. When reports of the landings arrived, the opposing command faced confusion and doubt. Was this the true mission, or just a diversion? Or was it the diversion that their trusted agent, Arabelle, had warned them about? The deception worked perfectly. Believing that the main attack would happen elsewhere, the enemy command decided not to send its strongest forces to support the troops already fighting. For crucial hours, and then days, these elite troops sat idle, waiting for a phantom invasion that would never come. Garbeau continued his work, sending frantic messages explaining that the Normandy landings were a trap and begging the Germans to hold their forces at Calais. The Germans believed him. This critical delay gave the Allies the precious time they needed to establish a secure foothold on the beaches, pour in reinforcements, and begin the slow, brutal fight inland. The battle for Normandy was ferocious and costly, but it could have been catastrophically worse. It wasn't until weeks later, as the Allied breakout from Normandy became undeniable, that the German High Command began to realize the sheer scale of the deception they had fallen for. But by then, it was too late. The trap had been sprung. For years after the war, the full story of Operation Fortitude remained a closely guarded secret. The files were sealed, the agents' identities protected. It took decades before the truth of this grand illusion was revealed to the public. When it was, it showed that the victory on D-Day was won not just by the courage of the soldiers on the beaches, but by the ingenuity of the planners, the fabricators, and the spies who operated in the shadows. The images of deflated rubber tanks and the stories of phantom armies became a testament to one of the most successful deceptions in military history. The deception plan successfully misled the enemy's top command, keeping their strongest forces away and saving thousands of lives. It fundamentally altered the course of the battle for Normandy and hastened the end of the war in Europe. The legacy of D-Day is often remembered through images of heroism and sacrifice, of soldiers storming the beaches under withering fire. And rightly so. But there is another, equally important legacy, one of intellect, creativity, and audacity. Operation Fortitude serves as a powerful reminder that in the crucible of war, victory is not always forged by brute force alone. Sometimes, the greatest weapon of all is imagination, the ability to shape your enemy's perception of reality, to turn their expectations against them, and to win a battle before it has even begun. As the sun sets over the now peaceful beaches of Normandy, it illuminates the graves of those who fought and fell here. But it also shines a light on the hidden history of D-Day, a story of a ghost army, a master spy, and a brilliant lie that helped change the world.